it's Rocket Rob 99, clan leader, Town Strike Force. I decided to do a medics tip video to help out the clan members of TLN become a little bit better as assault players and medics in general. So what I'm going to discuss here during the video is some tactics and things I've learned during playing Battlefield 3 and 4, and I would just, venture to let everybody know I've been a medic since playing first-person shooters. That's what I do. So, there are certain tactics that I think that everybody could use that will really help them improve their game. As you saw there, I tossed a grenade and then I picked up my teammate there, and the main idea of that is to verify there was nobody else standing in that doorway. That is a prime example of tactics. Thinking ahead, now I pull back and brought to a cover area so that my teammate can revive himself with my med pack. Another, example of tactics. When you're playing as a medic, you need to consider that your goal is to support your team. I mean, that's generally your idea. You should never be the first person through the doorway. You should be the last. And when you're out there on the battlefield playing assault, and that means when you're playing as a medic, that means you're running a med bag and you're running defibs. You need to play as a medic and not use it only for yourself. You need to think about what you're going to do as that to support your team. Now, when you revive people, I mean, you look here and you see that I revived one of my teammates there to 100% health. If you charge your paddles, and I think everybody kind of knows this, but I don't think people necessarily do it. They just go for the quick 20 points, and that's where I think why a lot of people don't necessarily revive players is because they think it's only 20 points. But if you take that extra second to charge your paddles, to revive your teammate, it's 100 points, and if you can revive more than one, you're stacking your points on top of that, so it really pays off. And then if you revive more than one person, throw down a med pack and they're still in that cover area, you're going to acquire even more points. When you talk about tactics in Battlefield, anything that you can do that can provide passive points is going to increase your XP and SP for the end of the round, because you're acquiring points even though you're not firing your weapon or doing something else. So spotting, or when you're running as a medic, throwing down a med bag in an area where your team is, or in corridors or doorways or stuff like that, is also a good idea. If you're running other support class or recon, there are other things that you can use within your gadget selection to support your team. The more that you support your team, the better you're going to do. You're not going to die as much. They're not going to die as much, and everybody has more fun. But back to being an effective medic, I mean, look, when you go to revive somebody, the idea is a successful revive is one where you revive your teammate and you're both able to get away and find cover. So that's a successful revive. If your guy falls down after he's gotten to cover on his own accord, well, that's not your fault. But when you're out there, reviving people, you need to consider, is it worth reviving that guy? Can I get to him? Is he in the open? Is there cover for him to get to if I revive him? And if so, how much time do I need to give him to get to his feet and get to cover? I mean, you need to be conscious that a lot of players don't necessarily play this way, and this is kind of what you're going to see right here. I mean, this is a clusterfuck. I mean, this is a 32 conquest player, 64 player conquest mode, and you see there is nearly a third of our team, or 2/3 of our team, is right there in that one doorway. That's the stupidest thing ever. Now, there's some people that say that you can go acquire points as a medic and go and sit there in the doorway and just, charge your paddles and revive, charge your paddles and revive. In some cases, that works, and it's good to do it, if there's enough of the rest of the team there. I mean, even in that kind of cluster shit situation there, sometimes there's some benefit to revive somebody in the middle of the pack there because there's already 15 guys shooting down range at whoever just killed that guy. However, you need to look at that from a tactical point and see if it's worth it. When you're playing as a medic, you need to look at the different options available to you. I mean, you know, as you saw in that like scene there, I wasn't necessarily trying to kill that guy. I was more trying to suppress him long enough to allow me to revive that player. And sometimes as a medic, you need to consider that you got to afford cover to your player until he rises to his feet. Now, you know, if you're in a situation where it just doesn't pay to revive somebody because he's in the middle of the road or he's still being shot at, which often happens. Don't even bother. I mean, nobody is going to care if he dies. Uh, because there was 10 guys around his body. Obviously, there's no way to be revived, and if he was, he'd be dead immediately anyway. Now, some of the other, tactics I wanted to talk about is when you're playing in large player matches and you have a choice to use a med bag or a med kit. Now, if you're playing in a game where there's a lot of medics running around and everybody's throwing out med kits and med bags all over the place, and you're not acquiring any points that way. The better way to do that is to use a med kit. You can target, which player is going to get revived, and generally you can afford more, support to your specific squad using a med kit as opposed to a med bag. Uh, when you're thinking about that, I mean, there's a downside to that as well. A med kit only revives at like, 10 health points per second, where a med bag goes considerably faster. Now, even with a med kit rather, I mean, you can't attach it to yourself. And sometimes when you throw it on the ground, it's a little hard to stand over it to assure that it's going to revive your own health. And of course, it doesn't revive your health any faster. So these are things to consider when you're playing. But if you want to be effective to earn points, or you want to really support a support player, say you have a teammate that's running support, he's running an LMG, he's trying to go through a doorway and clear out a room. That's a really good time to use a kit and just throw it onto his body, and it gives him a stronger chance to get through the door and survive and clear out the enemies, allowing you then to revive him if he goes down. Now, this video series that I'm going to start here is just really going to be basically stuff that I, am good at, and, I feel that I can help you. There will be other ones, including a video on the effective use of tactical mortars, as well as one I'm going to do at the end, which will be the third one, which will be on maps. And every battlefield map has a certain tactical thing that I think some people miss. Now, when we're talking about, being an effective medic, you need to look at what's going on in the battlefield and see uh, where your services are. Sometimes, you're playing, and I think people often run off by themselves and forget that, hey, look, I'm a medic, I'm supposed to support my team, and, they just run around with a med pack for themselves. You need to see what's going on in the battlefield and try and be effective if you really want to gain points. Now, first of all, as an additional point, if you are a low score, a low level, there is no better way to rank up your character than to run medic, because the amount of points that you receive for supporting your team as a medic are certainly a lot higher than even being support, engineer, or recon. The ability to be able to pick up points faster and a large amount of them in a single round are huge as a medic. I will often finish rounds negative, even, and be like fourth or fifth in the round of 16 players or 32 players, and going, how did I finish sixth? I came in late, and I went even 6 and 6, and how do I finish at that level? And it's just running around being a medic and doing that thing, which when I'm running assault, that's what I do. So when you're playing, you need to consider what's going on. I mean, you can stack points really fast, but there's also times when you need to retreat. I mean, this video point you see here, I mean, that was a clusterfuck there at the bottom of the stairs. I'm losing health. There's no way I'm going to survive. Fall back. let my squad spawn on me, and then this way you can work together as a team. I really hate running around alone, honestly. It kind of pisses me off, and you know, uh, I think so many players play this game, the wrong way. I mean, there's always going to be that player that plays tactically and, thinks ahead and so on. But, I think I see it a lot. And you don't see it as much. You don't see any tactical play in, the smaller modes like domination or, team deathmatch, obviously. But you do see a lot of tactics used in diffused, obliteration, and I haven't really gotten into CTF yet, on PlayStation 4 yet, so I really can't comment on that. But, what I was trying to think of as when I was thinking about doing the topics for this video is what's the better way to be a medic, and it comes back to the same thing. You got to run around as a team player and support your team. And if you see somebody go down, and you're running to a certain part of the map, and you got to adjust your path and see if you can help them out. I like domination mostly, so it's tough to be a good medic on domination. I really will tell you that it takes a lot more thought to be a good medic, because if you're not thinking about what's going on in the map, and you don't have some situational awareness, you're both gonna die, and nobody wants to do that. Now, this particular map, I knew there was enemies around, and there they are. I come around the corner, and they're all there. Now, I mean, if you noticed as I ran across the screen there, I mean, I certainly had an opportunity to pick up one or more of the blueberries on my team, but if I picked them up, they'd just be shot down and killed again. What's the point? So when you're going to revive somebody, that's the biggest thing. Don't be a Rambo medic. For those of you who don't know that, that's the same thing as running in a room with an LMG, spraying and praying. If you run in with your defibs, just, clicking away at the button, you're not doing anybody any good. You're mostly going to die anyway, so what's the point? Now, as we look forward here, in how to work in a tight environment, as a medic, what I do is I use the screen overlays. Seeing where people are down, in relation to where I am on the map, and whether, it's even technical difficulties, even possible to revive somebody. So, when, you're looking around the map, you need to, have some situational awareness, and, if necessary, throw a grenade, to clear the area. I mean, if you see a hit marker there or multiple hit markers on a grenade, you need to be conscious that maybe it's not a good idea to come around the corner and revive that guy. So when you're playing as a medic, all I'm just really saying is just be a little more aware of what's going on in, the battlefield. And it's okay to let a teammate die, rather than to revive him and then you both die. So, as we look forward here, I mean, I really appreciate it and glad everybody came by to say hello and check this video out. And check out the next one in the series, which will be on the tactical use of mortars for